For the past 20 plus years, Kia has had a solid player in the ever-competitive minivan space with the Kia Sedona. Now, of course, a couple years ago, Kia decided to redesign the Sedona into its fourth generation, and they also gave it a new name, its global name, known as the Carnival. Now, for 2025, it's time for the Carnival to get its first heavy refresh, and as you can see, it's a pretty significant one with new styling in the front, a new hybrid powertrain under the hood, and of course, a new interior with upgraded technology. So now that we're finally seeing the new Carnival in person, let's go ahead and take a first look. Now, before we talk about the exterior styling changes that Kia has made for 2025, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys one of the biggest changes, of course, and it's this entirely new powertrain. Now, previously, the Carnival used to only offer the 3.8-liter gasoline direct injection V6. That engine is still available, making 287 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque paired up to an 8-speed auto. However, this is the new powertrain that I think a lot of people are going to be going after. In fact, Kia said that they were targeting about a 50-50 take rate, but I actually suspect this may actually be a little bit higher than that. It's a new hybrid powertrain, a 1.6-liter gasoline direct injection turbo 4-cylinder, paired up, of course, with a 6-speed automatic, and there's a powerful 54-kilowatt electric motor sandwiched in between to give this vehicle a maximum of 242 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. That's actually the most torque that you're going to find in the minivan class. Kia says also the electric motor, compared to the powertrain in the Sorento hybrid, is more powerful, around 10 kilowatts more powerful, because it's 54 kilowatts as opposed to 44. The gas engine on its own delivers around 178 horsepower. So as you can see, 242 is a pretty good amount, and it makes it around the same power figure, of course, as its main rival from Toyota, the Sienna, which only comes as a hybrid. The downside, of course, is the drivetrain configuration is you can only get this with front-wheel drive. All Carnivals are front-wheel drive. There is no all-wheel drive option available. It's paired up with that 6-speed auto. Kia is targeting basically a 50% improvement, nearly 50% improvement in fuel efficiency compared to the gas-only version, which the old Carnival, the pre-refresh, was rated at like 1826. So I imagine this car might be getting closer to that 30 mpg mark, which will be very impressive considering, again, this is a minivan built for long-haul duties. I'll be driving this vehicle sometime later this year, of course, and we'll be able to talk about the driving dynamics, but Kia is basically saying the hybrid is going to be the one you're going to go for if you guys are considering the new Carnival minivan. Now, closing the hood, let's go ahead and talk about the exterior styling changes. Now, if you guys have been following the Kia, portfolio of new vehicles, you'll recognize this front fascia because it adopts a lot of the styling language from the EV9, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think the EV9 is a handsome vehicle. You can see it has the new corporate tiger nose grille with this new kind of insert with the black accents to it. You can see the LED headlights are also massively upgraded and improved in terms of the design. You also have these LED fog lights down here on this top of the line SX Prestige trim. This trim also includes upgraded cube style full LEDs. You can see it also has an LED daytime running light that's amber and LED turn signals. Kia has been really on that amber daytime running light trend, which I think gives their cars a very unique light signature, especially painted in this ceramic silver with all the black accents. It certainly doesn't look like a minivan, and that's precisely why Kia doesn't want you to call it a minivan. They call this vehicle an MPV, for multi-purpose vehicle. I kind of tend to call it a multi-purpose van, but you can see with the new Kia logo and the new front fascia, it certainly gives you more, upscale SUV vibes to it. Now, those vibes also continue when you look at the side profile of the new Carnival. You can see this is the biggest vehicle that Kia currently makes in the US at 203 inches long in the overall length. So again, typical minivan size. Its wheelbase is 121.7 inches. So again, it's got to have that extra size to give you all the additional space on the inside. This vehicle, again, has a very boxy profile, which tricks you into thinking like you have an SUV. You can see the wheels. These are the wheels that you get with the SX Prestige. They're a 19-inch wheel wrapped in a 235 by 55 Continental all-season tire. You have all disc brakes, all independent suspension, and Kia says you have around 6.8 inches of ground clearance. So again, not as much ground clearance as like a Telluride, which offers a little over 8 inches, but this is definitely sitting up a little bit higher, I feel like, than your average minivan. I also appreciate the fact that you have a full paint finish, at least on the fenders over here in the wheel arch trim. The side rails, you can see, are unpainted plastic, but I appreciate the fact that Kia didn't give it, that rugged cladding to try to make it look even more like an SUV. I think this is a very a clean and upscale look. Now, in terms of the mirrors, you can see they're kind of a gloss or a flat gray painted design with integrated turn signals. You have cameras around the vehicle because, again, it's a big car, so you need to be able to see everything around you. You can see also this trim also has the dual style sunroofs, where you have a sunroof over the second row as well that helps to let in some light. You also have these more aggressive actual raised roof rails where you can actually put things on the roof. It's a minivan, so of course you have to have a place for the sliding door, and some brands, they tend to hide the sliding door tracks in the lower part of the windowsill. Kia, as you can see, doesn't do that. I do appreciate this kind of diamond texture area here along the, I believe that's the C-pillar right there. So it definitely gives it an interesting look to the side profile with the boxiness of it. And then looking at the rear, you can see the taillights have also been updated. They kind of mimic the style of the light signature from the front, where you have this new LED light bar that doesn't connect the two taillights together, but it certainly gives it a more distinctive look. This trim also gives you full LED taillights with the cube style LEDs for the rear taillight design as well, which again is going to give it that more upscale vibe. In terms of the bumper area here, you can see you have integrated parking sensors. It's an unpainted portion down here to give it more of that rugged look. I also appreciate the black badging here, going with the new Kia logo. This is again a much more modern looking van versus their previous iterations of the Sedona. Now you can see a power liftgate obviously is included, and the beauty about minivans is their incredible versatility, and this is why I think these are still the best option if you guys need to carry people and their stuff. You can see with the third row seat up, you have just over 40 cubic feet of space, and you also have this insanely deep storage well, because as you guys know, with minivans, you actually have the ability to essentially fold the seats down and into the floor. You can actually flip that flap out. So you can see here when you pull the seat into the floor here, it expands the cargo to, actually I don't have that figure for it, but I'd say it's probably around the 60, 70 cubic feet mark. If you essentially take out the second row seats, which I don't believe you can do, at least not on this model, because it has the VIP lounge chairs. I'll have to double check that. Kia says you have a maximum of 145 cubic feet of space. 145, Kia says, is the best in the class. Now, obviously, because you have to take the seats out, it's not going to have the same versatility as the Chrysler Pacifica with its stow and go seating flexibility. But I think for those of you who are again looking to carry a lot of people and their stuff, the all-new Carnival will certainly be able to do that for you. Now moving on to the interior of the 2025 Carnival Hybrid, you can see this particular one that I'm showing you is the SX Prestige, which has the upgraded Napa leather seats. And once I get in and shut the door has a pretty solid sounding thunk. And these seats, as I mentioned earlier, have a really great color combination. I believe this is a new color option this year. It's kind of like a dark blue with the light gray finish. These seats are also heated and ventilated. I have a 10-way power driver's seat, of course, with 2-person memory. The seats have really plush padding on it, and it also, just feels really comfortable and plush. I think that's going to be important, of course, for those of you who plan on using this vehicle for your road trips and whatnot. You can see in terms of the materials, the door panel here has a soft touch injection molded plastic area with the piano black plastic trim. This area right here where I'd rest my elbow is also padded. The window controls, one touch for the driver and one touch for the rear as well. So one touch for all four, which is a nice touch. I also love the high quality metal accented controls for the window switches and for the mirror controls. There's some new ambient lighting in here, some new LED ambient lighting, which kind of spans across the door panel and the dash. It also goes into the second row. And then over here on the upper dash, you can see it has a soft touch injection molded plastic with this faux stitching here, more piano black plastic here. But overall, the basic dash layout hasn't really changed. What has changed, of course, aside from the ambient lighting, is the new panoramic curve style 12.3-inch displays. So if you guys remember the Carnival, when it first came out, it introduced the largest infotainment system in the minivan segment. It kind of continues that trend, of course, with this new version, because if you guys know the Odyssey and the Sienna and the Pacifica, they either max out at like an 8, a 9, or a 10.25-inch display. This is again standard with a 12.3-inch display. It has their newest CNCC software in the infotainment system, so it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. What you don't get, however, is that separate helper screen here, a 5-inch for the climate control. Instead, it's located down here. And then the upper trims will have a fully digital 12.3-inch cluster here. The lower trims will have a 4.5-inch or 2-inch display with a traditional analog display. To the side of that digital one, you can see the steering wheel. It's essentially the same steering wheel, I believe, from last year. You can see it has the same kind of blue leather. There's a manual telescoping adjustment, which gives you a good amount of adjustability and range, so it's easy to kind of get a comfortable driving position here. You also have paddles on the wheel to control the 6-speed automatic, and really your only indication that you're in the hybrid is when you look here in the center console, because the hybrid is the only trim that gives you this dial rotary style shift by wire for the 6-speed automatic. The traditional V6 will have an actual mechanical lever for the shift or for the transmission. So this definitely looks a little bit more modern. You have, you know, a nice center console area here where my phone fits perfectly in the wireless charger there. I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and then you can see here, just like on the Kia EV6 and EV9, you have this new, you know, row of buttons here which are capacitive, and you can actually change that from going audio to your climate control, and you also get the knobs that change too. So that's a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's kind of a cool tech feature, but it is a little finicky if you're not used to that at first. You can see your heated and cooled seat controls are located here. You also have 2-level heated steering wheel. If I push that button, you can see this car also gives you a full 360 camera with perimeter scan. It also allows you to kind of scroll around the vehicle. This is a feature that you can't even get on the Honda Odyssey, so really great, impressive feature that Kia is giving you, along with wonderful graphics. So that's all very important, especially when you're driving around a vehicle this big. There's a nice padded center console here. If I open this up, you can see it's a big center console area, and here's the key fob for the vehicle. You can see it's Kia's newest detonator style key, which has your buttons here on the side to lock and unlock and remote start, or and open up the vehicle, open up the trunk. You can see on this side, there's your remote start, and you can also open up the power doors. Those power sliding doors are actually standard even on the base LXS trim. So it's great that Kia is again throwing in a bunch of technology to make this vehicle, you know, have a lot more features versus some of its competitors. Above me here, you can see there's a dual sunroofs over here over the front seat area. There's just a standard manual sliding, you know, sunshade, and the sunroof will also open up to vent air if you guys prefer. It's not working, however, today because this is a very early pre-production prototype vehicle. If I open up the glove box here, you can see it's a bin style. It's damped and it's lined with felt. It offers a good amount of storage as well. There's also pretty good storage in the center console area over here, and there's also a little bit more storage down here, which is again important, especially when you guys, you know, plan to use a minivan as a family style vehicle. But let's go ahead and hop into the backseat area, because this car in particular has a great feature that I think a lot of families will appreciate. Well, at least if you're an empty nester and you plan to just carry full-size adults back here as opposed to kids. Now you can see these are the VIP lounge chairs. Now these chairs are actually, I believe, included if you guys go for this SX Prestige trim. It's a no-cost option if you guys want these lounge chairs, and it basically kind of allows you to use a power function here where you can actually fold or recline the seat, and it'll actually will pop out an ottoman. If I push this button again, actually the car, oh, actually there we go. So if I push this right here, it actually pops out an ottoman, which kind of allows you to use this almost like as a lounge style chair. Now obviously my foot kind of gets stuck underneath that front passenger seat, so it probably is going to be even better if you guys have it for usage, of course, in the or if you guys use it on this side over here, because it gives you the ability to kind of move that passenger seat forward. Now in terms of the legroom space, you can see Kia does say that you can move the seat forward and back manually, but it also has the little power controls over here. The company says you have around 40.5 inches of legroom back here, which 40.5 is among the biggest that you're going to find, obviously, in the segment. That's one of the beauties about minivans. So again, right here, Kia gives you a little button here where I can adjust and move this seat forward. This model also has the optional 14.6-inch dual rear entertainment displays. I'm kind of on the fence about these because a lot of parents, I feel like, have iPads nowadays, but what you're probably also noticing over here is there's a camera here mounted in the ceiling. This allows parents to basically keep an eye on your sleeping kids, or if they're fighting in the back and they're, you know, blaming it on their sibling, you can actually see what they're doing. You can see over here, this dual sunroof allows you to also open it up to vent air, which is really nice. Typically, this only allows you to kind of open it up for light, so it's great that Kia allows you to actually open it up to let some air come back through as well. And then you can see in the door panel area here, there's a little bit of ambient lighting back here, along with a little bit more that you can't see right now because we're still kind of lit up in the daytime here in the studio. And then over here, you can see there's a 12-volt 100 a household power outlet, along with a 12-volt here, a traditional one. And then you've got two USB connections over here if you need to plug in your phone for power. So that's all the kind of technology that you expect nowadays, especially in today's minivans. These seats also are heated and ventilated, which is also a nice touch. And you also have these manual retractable shades, which again is great for parents who have kids back here that are sleeping. Now to get into the third row area, obviously there's a little pass-through right here, or you can also, let me open up this door here. There should be a lever, and the reason why this slides forward and back manually is because Kia gives you that ability to kind of slide the seat forward. So if I want, I can push this seat over here to the side, and then you can slide it this way if you'd like, or you can see, I believe, this car, when you want to slide it to the side over here, you can actually do so, but it needs to actually be all the way back. Now, This definitely makes it a little bit more challenging because, as you can see, the seats are a little bit larger versus the standard captain's chair. So kind of keep that in mind if you plan to use the third row more often. So what I'll do here is I'll just kind of move this seat to the side and try to get back here into the third row area. Even Rob is kind of struggling because it's a little difficult to find the space, but so pull on that lever over there. No, the front one. Yes, there we go. So this is probably the best you're gonna be able to see me in, but as you can see back here, Kia says there's around 35 inches of legroom back here. Now 35 inches is around 2 inches more versus what you're gonna get in like the Telluride. So obviously this seat gives you the ability to recline. This is one of the strengths about a minivan is you can actually put adults back here. In terms of the headroom space, it seems pretty good. The vehicle is wide enough to fit 3 people across. In terms of tech back here, you have hard touch materials, you have a USB charging port on both sides, and you also have these retractable shades in addition to vents in the ceiling. Your climate control function is over there, along with some LED map lighting as well. So overall, again, typical minivan fashion. If you actually need to carry adults and up to 7 people, the Carnival can certainly do so, just like a lot of its competitors. So obviously Kia has made some very impressive changes to the Carnival for 2025. I think personally the best change that they made is by offering that hybrid powertrain, because as you guys know, the hybrid powertrain has been doing extremely well for Toyota in the Sienna, so it's no surprise to me that Kia would want to follow in their footsteps. And the other great thing about the Carnival hybrid, if you want to get your hands on this vehicle, the gas version is already on sale. You'll have to wait another month or two to actually purchase the hybrid at your local Kia dealership. Base pricing for the LXS gas starts at $36,500. That is obviously more expensive than the 2024 model, but if you guys want to go to the hybrid, it only costs you about $2,000 more. Now, initially, the hybrid will cost you at least $40,500, and that's because it starts one trim above the base gas V6. So that's precisely why it's $4,000 extra, although in reality, it's only $2,000 more. And I think that's a really, interesting but really affordable price increase, especially when you guys are looking at the extra efficiency that you're going to get, the extra torque that you're going to get. Technically, this has less horsepower, but I think a lot of people are going to appreciate the 50% improvement in fuel efficiency. Now, if you guys want to go to a top trim like this one here, the SX Prestige, that's going to cost you at least $50,000. The hybrid again is going to be around $52,500. So with destination, this will probably come in at just under $55,000, which again sounds like a lot of money, but keep in mind you can also option up a Sienna and a Pacifica to be well closer to $60,000. So there's a ton of value to be had here with the new Carnival, and of course with its massive screens and those lounge seats, it certainly gives you a level of luxury and technology that you don't typically find in the minivan space. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2025 Kia Carnival Hybrid. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.